Today I'm excited to share my installation experience with the SFR tuned ECU. This is going to be probably the easiest mod that you can do on your car simply because it's the least amount of steps taken to make the change. We're going to take the ECU here. This is the pre-programmed ECU I received from Jay at SFR Tuning, Soulful Racing, and we're going to replace it with our stock one. It is the 0.5 stage tune rather, and so let's get started. First thing we're going to do is disconnect the negative terminal on the battery and wait a few minutes just to make sure that everything is discharged. You want to disconnect the ECU, and if you have an automatic, the TCU as well. This one right here is going to be the transmission controller, and this box here with the two connectors is your ECU. So simply lift up like this, it'll unlock, and you can lift straight out of the port and it will be disconnected. So simply do that with all of them. And you set them over to the side. Okay, and then you want a 10mm socket with an extension. And there are actually, let me show you because I'm going to have trouble doing it with one hand, but let's move this a little bit more out of the way. Okay, so if you could take a look down here, you'll see that there's two silver colored bolts, and then there's going to be a black bolt way down there. If the camera will focus, there we go. Now the focus, it's focusing now, the camera. So that's all three 10mm bolts that you will remove, and this entire mount, this metallic mount for the ECUs, will lift up. So let's go ahead and do that. I recommend that you use a long extension socket for the black bolt that sits in there, simply because the stud coming through it is a little tall for the standard socket. So this is a extended size socket that I used, still 10mm. So once you remove that, once you remove all three bolts, simply grab a hold and pull the entire assembly out. Be very careful not to scratch the body of the car. And here we are. So at this point, lay it down nicely, and we want to remove these four bolts, and this entire ECU should slide off, I believe. Where did I put my socket? Here we go. I believe this is 10. Yes, this is 10mm, so just continue using your 10mm. Unbolt and slide the stock ECU out. Okay, with the four bolts removed, slide the stock ECU out. Place it somewhere so you don't get it mixed up. Grab a hold of the replacement. Simply slide it into place, align the holes, and reinstall the four bolts. After it's bolted on, simply slide it back in place and install the three bolts. After replacing the three bolts, reattach the connectors, basically the reverse of removing. Set the slot down and then push the toggle down, the flapper. I went ahead and used both my hands to do it just to make sure I did a solid connection rather than doing it over the camera and not making a good connection, because you don't want to mess with these too badly. Last step, or second to last step, is reinstall the battery cable and then give it a test run. Okay, now that the battery's connected, we're ready to do a test run, and so everybody has gathered around, and well, maybe not everybody, but let's see what we've accomplished. Well, she fired up, so that's a good sign. Everything checks out okay. No immediate problems arose, so just give it a test run, but that's basically all it takes to swap out your ECU. Let me know if you have any questions. This is on a 2013 Genesis Coupe 2.0T. Thanks everyone.